I've just disembarked a cruise where I stayed in a cabin that had a feature that I didn't know existed on board cruise ships. It certainly was a weird one, and I spent most of the week trying to work out why the cruise line would have made this decision. Normally when you look at cruise ship cabins, they're all pretty similar across the cruise lines and across the cruise ships. They're usually made in the same factories, and there's not really all that much variety that can happen within a space that is only 9 foot wide. The ship that I booked this cruise on was the Costa Smeralda, built in 2019, which makes her a relatively new cruise ship. I decided to treat myself and book a balcony, and I'm glad I did, because it was in the balcony that I found the strange feature. The description of the cabin said private bathroom, but that wasn't exactly the case. I booked what is called a guaranteed cabin, which means that I didn't pick the specific location of my cabin. Usually this does mean that you get the leftover cabins, but I've never regretted that decision, and it normally saves me quite a bit of money to do that. I've had cabins right at the top of the ship, cabins right at the bottom of the ship, at the front of the ship, at the back of the ship. I've been underneath nightclubs, I've been above theatres. On this cruise though, I was surprised by my cabin's location. When I logged into the Costa website to print our luggage tags, I saw that we'd been assigned cabin 15180 on deck 15. Looking at the deck plans, I quickly found out this was right in the middle of the ship, which is an unusually good location for me. It turned out that there was one big problem with this location that did keep me awake, and I can sleep through anything, but more about that later. I thought to myself, wow, deck 15, at least that will be close to the buffet. On every cruise ship I've ever cruised on before, the buffet is up high, but on this ship, the buffet was down on deck 8, so I didn't have that nearby. I took this cruise with my parents, who'd booked an inside cabin, and as we boarded the ship lower down and their cabin was on deck 5, we decided to go and have a look at their cabin first. At this point, I noticed nothing out of the ordinary. It seemed like a nice, normal cabin, and my parents only paid £279, which is around $344 each for the week, so they were very, very happy with this room. You would struggle to book the cheapest hotel on land for that price without any of the food or the entertainment or everything else we enjoyed on this cruise. It turns out that the inside cabins don't have the weird feature that I was about to discover in my balcony cabin. Heading up 10 flights of stairs to my cabin, I realised just how strong my legs would be by the end of the cruise. The Costa Smeralda has 19 decks in total, and she can hold 6,500 passengers plus crew, so she's a seriously big cruise ship. When I entered the cabin, I really liked the design. It felt very spacious, it felt very bright. At this point, I didn't really notice a curtain hanging in the corner, but it would reveal its secrets to me a little bit later. We did have a big sofa bed here too, which is used if you have 3 people staying in the cabin. It's not uncommon to have 3 or 4 people staying in a cabin like this, and if that's the case, a third person will sleep on the sofa bed, and quite often a 4th person will sleep in a bed that comes down from the ceiling. Those types of beds are definitely not for everybody. They're designed for adults though, and personally, I quite enjoy them. Our suitcases arrived in our cabin shortly after we did, and it was at this point we realised that there were just no drawers in the cabin at all anywhere. There were these 2, I suppose, on the desk, but you certainly couldn't fit any clothes here. I put my purse in here, and that is your Britishism of the week. In the UK, a purse is a small thing that you use to carry money, particularly coins. It will normally go into your pocket or into your bag. I suppose it's a more feminine version of the word wallet, but there's not really a distinction there. There's not somebody who can look at this and decide, is that a wallet? Is that a purse? Similar kind of thing. In the US, I believe a purse is a bag. We would just call this a handbag, and the purse would go inside the bag. We use the little drawers to keep things that we would need every day, like a hairbrush and chargers, but a few bigger drawers definitely would have been nice. Aside from that, there were some shelves by the door, and there was a section for hanging clothes. It wasn't a full-length hanging section, so my dresses couldn't really hang properly unless I folded them over. It wasn't a big problem, but adding some storage definitely would have helped. At this point, the cabin seemed very ordinary. Next, I went into the bathroom, and I was very impressed with the design of it. It's one of the most modern cruise ship bathrooms I've ever had, and it was really quite spacious. I recently took a cruise with the luxury cruise line Azamara, and as you can see, the bathroom on board Azamara was much smaller than the bathroom we had on Costa Smeralda. The bathroom on Smeralda actually had a lot of storage. There was a place for towels, and there was one of those mirrors that makes everybody just look awful. The shower itself was a really good size, and it was now that I noticed the curtain hanging beside the shower. I saw the curtain hanging there, but it wasn't on the bathroom side, so I left the bathroom, went round into the cabin, pulled the curtain, and wanted to see if I could see into the bathroom. I was very surprised to see that between the bathroom and the main cabin, there was just a glass wall and a curtain. The middle section was frosted, so you couldn't see through the middle, but I was very confused why anybody would want this. I closed the curtain again, and at this point I just thought it was kind of a gimmick of sorts. It was something quirky, but I didn't really foresee any problems. I thought we would just leave the curtain closed all the time. I did wonder how it would affect our cruise going forward, and I wondered if we would find any benefit that made this worth having. Why did they do this? Our balcony was a good size with a couple of seats, and as the cruise went on, I loved having a cabin in the middle of the ship. Being up on deck 15 did feel a little bit odd because most things that happen on the ship happen on deck 6, 7 and 8, which was quite a walk away. Luckily for us though, the ship doesn't have a deck 13, which meant that when we were walking up the stairs, it was always a nice surprise to go from 12 straight to 14. It's pretty common for cruise ships to miss out deck 13 just because of superstition reasons. The only things that were really up above deck 15 were the gym and the spa, which I didn't go near, and lots of outside spaces with pools. It was on deck 16 that there was this huge dome, and we found out a couple of days into our cruise that they also use this area for parties. The parties on Costa cruises start much later than they would on a British or an American cruise line, and they go on until 2 or 3 in the morning. Even the kind of teenager meetups happen at kind of 11:30 on a Costa cruise. I sleep pretty well. I can sleep anywhere, I can sleep through most things, but I could not sleep when there was a party happening in this dome. I did go to the party and it was great fun, but it was just something that I hadn't considered. I didn't really predict that the pool would be playing music at 2 in the morning. When it was time to have a shower, I just left the curtains drawn, and it really wasn't a problem in that situation. You do have to trust whoever you're sharing your cruise ship cabin with though, but I would hope that you're only sharing cabins with people that you trust, because the curtain is not on the shower side, it's on the other side. So if you're in the shower and someone else wanted to open the curtain, there's nothing you could do in that situation. I was sharing with my other half, I knew he wouldn't do that, so it was totally fine. But you might be staying with somebody who thinks it's funny to pull a prank on you. I don't know. If that's the case, you need new cabin mates, because that's not cool. I did actually find the curtain a little bit annoying as the cruise went on, but it wasn't when I was showering that it was a problem. I did put my little Captain Hudson on the desk. There was a bowl there that was just perfect for him, and Captain Hudson is on sale right now. All of the profits are going to the charity Mercy Ships, which is a fantastic charity. Focus on Hudson, not on me. They're only going to be available for a couple of weeks, so make sure you get yours so that you don't miss out. We've sold over 700 of these so far, and I can't wait to see Captain Hudson going out on his adventures all over the world. There isn't any kind of night light in these cabins, which means that if you do use the bathroom at night and you turn on the main light in the bathroom, it'll come into the cabin around all the edges of the curtain, and it will be quite bright. No matter how well you think you've pulled the curtain, it's always going to come in somewhere. I only did that once, and then from that point onwards I just used the light on my phone, but it does seem a bit odd. I suppose the main benefit of a cabin like this is that you can get natural light into the bathroom, but I've never been in a cruise ship bathroom, you know, sat on the toilet or something and thought, I wish this had more natural light. There's still light in there. They have pretty good lights in cruise ship bathrooms. Maybe it's that people want to look outside. They want to look at the view when they're in the shower. I wouldn't want to do that. I would be so stressed that, you know, occasionally another ship might come by and you're just there in the shower, but maybe that's the benefit. I don't know. I do usually cruise in inside cabins, and even with the weird glass in my balcony cabin, I'm still glad that I did upgrade. I upgraded my cabin using the refund money I got from a recent cruise when that cruise only lasted 8 hours. We were at dinner 4 hours into the cruise when they told us that the cruise was cancelled. To find out what happened on that cruise and how long we had to get off of the cruise ship, watch this video next.